Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the New Forest. Thanks for joining us. In fact, technically we're just outside the New Forest. We're at the town of Ringwood, which is in the southwest of Hampshire. It's sort of northeast of Bournemouth and southwest of Southampton. And today we're going to be doing a 4.5 mile circular route starting at Ringwood and then heading south, following initially the path of the Avon Valley Trail, but then we'll be heading east across through some beautiful woodland past a lake. We'll be coming across an old disused railway, another large lake, so lots of interesting things to see as we go along. So do join us. It's a glorious summer's morning in August. The sun's out, should be perfect conditions for a super walk. Are we ready? He's already spotted something. Let's go. Well, I parked my car at the central car park right in the middle of Ringwood, and I thought I'd start off by having a little walk through the town before we head out into the countryside. So I've made my way to the end of the high street, and this is a marketplace behind me on my left. And if I just turn round, I'll show you the original White Hart pub, and possibly Ringwood's oldest pub. And apparently the White Hart is the fifth most popular name for a pub in the UK. And I was reading that it was a Victorian landlord that came up with the story that this was thought to be the first pub to be called the White Hart in the UK. And the story was that it was named by Henry VII after he caught a white hart stag on a hunting trip around here, had it leashed and led back into town in triumph. However, I believe there are records of inns dating further back in time to the reign of Richard II, whose favourite badge of course was the White Hart, so I'm not sure whether the story is completely true. Well, just continuing along Marketplace, there's the church, which I now will show you, and that's here on my right, the Church of St Peter and St Paul. Now there was a church mentioned here in the Domesday Book, but that was rebuilt in the 13th century, and that survived until 1853, when it was basically completely knocked down and rebuilt, retaining some of the original features. A very impressive parapet tower, which I think is 100 foot high, with 8 bells. But it's not the most peaceful of locations. You can probably hear some traffic in the background. That's the very busy A31 dual carriageway that goes out of the forest towards the southwest, and it's literally a few yards from the church. Well, just next to the church there's a building here with a very interesting plaque on the side. And I'll have a little through. I'll put a picture up on screen for you, but basically this is where James, Duke of Monmouth, who was the eldest son of Charles II, defeated in a revolt against his uncle James II, and was captured in a ditch near Horton. He was brought to this spot on the 8th of July 1685 and interrogated in the vicarage which stood here. He was held for 2 nights in a house in West Street. We'll have a look at that in a second, and then he was taken to London and beheaded a week later. Well, here we are in West Street, just a few houses along, and sure enough there is the house that the Duke of Monmouth was held in prior to his execution. And you'll see there's a plaque outside. Well, the original house was built in the 16th century, but the present house here had this front added in Georgian style in the 18th century. And then if I just move along here, this wonderful thatched property that is the old cottage restaurant, and this is probably the most photographed building in all of Ringwood. It really is quite lovely. That's also probably one of the oldest buildings, thought to have been built around the 16th century. And originally it was a substantial house, and then it was converted into 4 cottages before being combined to form a tea room between the First and Second World War, and it became a restaurant in the 1960s. But, oh, isn't it so pretty? Well, just before we head out of Ringwood, I thought I'd cross this little bridge. Our first view of the River Avon today. Apologies for the noise of the A31 in the background, as you can probably see. And there is the aforementioned River Avon and a beautiful swan there. And there was once a mill here. I mean, there's been a mill here going back centuries. It was often burnt down. The last one was built in 1854, but it was pulled down in the early 1930s to make way for this bypass. But if I just go onto the other side of the bridge, a slightly more pleasant or peaceful scene, and there is the River Avon heading south. It starts at Salisbury and then makes its way out to the sea at Christchurch, but we'll see a little bit more of that later on. Well, the sun is out now in all its glory. It really is quite wonderful. We're now going to join the Avon Valley Path for a bit, which is a 34-mile trail route that runs from, well, Salisbury all the way down to Christchurch. It pretty much follows the path of the River Avon. And I think, as I said at the beginning, Ringwood, technically, although it's not in the New Forest, it's often known as the gateway to the New Forest. In fact, part of our walk today we will just creep inside the New Forest boundary. So before we head out really into the countryside, I just spotted this behind me. I don't know if you can see it fine, but I always love objects like this. Excuse my shadow, but that's got to be something to do with the Second World War, hasn't it? I'm probably wrong, but I mean, this probably would have been part of the stop line, being fairly close to the river. Well, I've just crossed a bridge over a disused railway line. It actually goes over not the River Avon, but I think it's the mill stream that goes alongside it. And well, the railway line, basically, the London to Southampton line was opened in 1840, and then in 1847 it was extended through basically the New Forest, Brockenhurst, Ringwood and on to Dorchester, but it missed out on Bournemouth. It was called the Castleman Corkscrew, named after Charles Castleman, who was a local solicitor in Wimborne, and he promoted the railway. But in 1888, a much shorter route was constructed through to Bournemouth, and basically this line became obsolete and it was eventually closed. It closed completely in the mid-1960s, and these days it's just mainly a walking route and a cycle route. And we can see right across this wonderful water meadow, which is full of wildflowers at the moment. Obviously every winter it does its purpose and floods, which is a natural phenomenon. It's very peaceful here at the moment. And I can just about make out is that a white egret in the very far distance? I've got the wrong camera today for my zoom. I'll try and get a picture up. I've just had a little stop right by the River Avon itself, and what an exquisite scene on this beautiful sunny morning. And there's a nice little breeze coming off the river. But if I show you this scene, isn't that quite exquisite, with the reflections coming off the water? Now, you're probably not going to see this, but it's absolutely teeming with fish in there. Quite large. Well, there's 2 or 3 inches long, I guess. But oh, that is so beautiful. And if you do come here and your dog likes water, then it's easy for them to have a splash here. I think Logan probably won't do that today. He doesn't mind water, but provided it only goes up to his chest, probably. But oh, isn't that beautiful? And I can just see some probably Canadian geese amongst those reeds over there. But a quite picturesque scene. Wow, we're continuing to head south. Oh, what a pretty little ford. Now this is a stream that actually joins the River Avon to my right. Unfortunately, there's a little bridge here that we can use. I'll make my way up, and again you can see the water meadow over onto to the right. And oh, this is so pretty. So if I turn around, hopefully the sun's not going to get in your screen, but isn't that quite enchanting? Really is. Okay, so we'll carry along here. These look like almost like concrete sandbags, don't they? That's probably what they are. Well, this is as far south as I'm going to go on the walk, so I'm going to say goodbye to the Avon Valley Path, and that carries on down south towards Christchurch there. So instead I'm going to head east, and we're now going to head in between a couple of cottages. I think one of them's called Lake View, so hopefully we might see a lake. Well, I only saw glimpses of a lake. I'm not sure if it was on private land, so I didn't explore too much. I did manage to see a grey heron, but again I had the wrong camera, so if there's a picture I'll show it on screen. If it's too blurred I won't. But have a look at this though. This is absolutely gorgeous. Willow, or 3 willows. How about that for a lovely little thatched cottage? Oh, I keep saying, keep doing those lottery numbers, they'll come up. Oh, alright, what have we got here? The dog poo bag thrower. Free delivery back to your house. Oh, I love it. You're being watched. Not sure about the spelling. Well, I've just crossed the B3347, past a beautiful little cottage, Jasmine Cottage. We're now going to make our way across a field of barley. And also I see there's some beautiful poppies as well on the side. Isn't that lovely? But well, it won't be long before this crop is harvested, I expect. Beautiful. Now, very few clouds in the sky, certainly a lot of blue. I'm now coming full circle and heading towards the little village of Crow, which is on the outskirts of Ringwood. Just walking along this little road. Lovely little thatched cottage here that's called, let's have a quick look, Cherry Cottage. Well, look, there's a little plaque up. Used to be a pub. Well, we've now met up with the old disused railway again, the old Castleman Way. And there is the track that comes up from the south. And if I just slowly pan round, just by me here is one of the old railway crossings, and there is one of the original concrete posts, and then over on the other side there's the other post, which is a bit more of it. We've still got the metalwork attached to it as well. Isn't that lovely? Alright, so we're going to carry on heading along the track north that's going to take us back to Ringwood. Technically we are now in the New Forest. We've just crossed the boundary and we're going to be in it for a few hundred yards. We're still making our way back towards Ringwood along the old railway line, and just alongside the line is Hightown Lake, which is just by me here. Just turn around to show you. It's an old gravel pit, about 22 acres in total, and there's an island in the middle which is about 4 acres, but it's fairly deep. I think it's about 22 foot in places. Very popular with anglers, a lot of carp and bream and tench in here, but it's quite impressive. And Logan's thinking about having a dip, but maybe not. A bit too deep for you, fella. Wow, look what we've found. It's a little play area specifically for dogs. Well, I'll be rude not to test it out. I don't know who enjoyed that more, Logan or me. Well, it's a brilliant idea, as they were right on the edge of a huge development of hundreds of new houses, and they've obviously got some green area, and there's a children's play area over there, so it's great that they've built a little dog activity area as well. And goodness me, what have we got down here? Well, this is a sign of the times, isn't it? And I think this is what they call a COVID-19 snake. The children have been asked to paint their own stones and then add them onto the line. Hey, Luce, what about these? What about those? Hey? Yeah. Is that nice? Have another one? This is your favourite part of the walk, isn't it? What about that one? Do you want me to pick it for you? Is that ready? They're just about right for you now. You want that one? What about that one? Hey? Ah, lovely. Right, we're going to carry along. As I say, we're nearly at the end of our walk now. This is still on the old disused track, believe it or not. It's so overgrown. And it takes us into Ringwood. The old railway station at Ringwood is long gone. It was built over. There's an industrial estate there now. There's still little bits of evidence of the railway around and some of the place names though. And I think we're just about to come up to a very impressive bridge actually. Yeah, I can just about see it in the distance. And that sort of marks the end of our sort of countryside walk, and then it's a little trip back to the car. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and like, and do make a comment. And if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. That way hopefully you'll be able to join us for another walk sometime in the future. It's been a wonderful day weather-wise, had a super walk. We've had a lot of fun. So until we meet again, thanks for watching, and cheerio. Right, should we go and find a nice pub somewhere? If you're around.